The $100 silver window is closing, and no one who isn't paying attention will understand why until it's over. What you're about to discover is not a price prediction, not a hype cycle, but a structural lock on physical metal distribution that will decide who gets real silver and who is left with digital promises. Banks are already being restricted from selling physical bullion, while the mainstream public still believes silver is just a commodity, not a monetary pressure valve. This video is the moment where assumption collides with consequence, where the idea that silver is cheap, abundant, or irrelevant suddenly dies in real time. The title of this story isn't exaggeration, it's a countdown. A window that closes not because of market excitement, but because of institutional intervention. For the last century, gold carried the symbolic burden of financial panic. But silver, the quieter metal, was the workhorse of civilization, the silent anchor under currency systems, the industrial bloodstream of modern tech, and the overlooked backup to catastrophic monetary failure. It is cheaper, more conductive, more essential to electric grids, solar expansion, military optics, and medical sterilization than most metals on the planet. And yet, its entire global physical supply is small enough to nearly disappear when one nation panics and buys aggressively. But this story starts much earlier. Not in 2024, not in banking desks, not in vaults. It starts in 1873, the year silver was quietly demonetized by the US Congress without telling the public. The Coinage Act, later nicknamed the Crime of 73, removed silver from the monetary system, instantly destroying the wealth of anyone who held it as savings. It was a political assassination of a metal. Overnight, silver was reclassified from money to material, and a century-long chain reaction began. Farmers revolted, populists marched, newspapers raged, presidential candidates built platforms on one slogan, "Put silver back." But the bankers had already made their decision. Gold would be the king metal, silver the forgotten cousin. It wasn't because silver lacked value, it was because silver was too democratic, too abundant among ordinary people, too widely held, too hard to control. Gold could be centralized in a single vault. Silver lived in pockets and farms and streets. Gold served empires. Silver served populations. To build monopoly, one metal had to be elevated and the other had to be erased. Then came the Great Depression. People ran to banks to withdraw gold and silver, but gold was seized by executive order. Silver, strangely, was not banned. It was tolerated, even used as coinage. Why? Because power structures underestimated it. Silver was treated like a harmless trinket, but it remained the second escape hatch from currency collapse. Fast forward, 1964. The US Mint stops producing silver coins, replacing them with base metals. A silent alarm rang across the economic world. Governments never remove precious metal from currency because things are stable. They do it because pressure is building and scarcity is real. The public spent new coins freely, unaware that the old silver coins were melting into private vaults, being hoarded in coffee cans, bank boxes, attics, waiting for a day when redemption would matter more than denial. Then came 1980. Silver hit $50 per ounce in a frenzy driven by the Hunt brothers, two billionaires who decided to buy physical silver at a scale nobody had attempted in modern finance. Their gamble broke the paper markets. The global banking system panicked because silver showed its true power. When people with wealth buy physical metal, the system has to defend its paper substitute or collapse. Exchanges changed rules mid-game. Governments intervened. Prices fell. Not because silver lacked value, but because the financial structure could not allow silver to become a parallel monetary asset again. But now we arrive at today, where a new pressure has formed. This time, there are no Hunt brothers. There is no cartel of billionaires cornering metal. This time, it is industrial demand, military stockpiling, central bank hedging, and consumer awakening all converging at once. Every solar panel, every electric vehicle, every missile guidance circuit pulls silver from a mine that can't keep up. For the first time in history, industry, not investment, is draining the global stockpile faster than it can be replaced. Here's the twist. While demand explodes, banks are being quietly restricted from selling physical silver directly. This isn't rumor, it's logistics, compliance, capital, international policy tightening, and risk categorization. When a bank cannot deliver bullion to the public, physical ownership shifts to private dealers, sovereign mints, military requisitions, and state accumulation programs. A shrinking window, a limited channel, a silent ban without needing public legislation. You don't need to have to outlaw silver if you can simply limit distribution until only priority buyers can access it. That is why the $100 threshold matters. Not as a future dream, but as a trigger point. When silver breaks that line, the world won't react with celebration. It will react with exclusion. Those who have physical silver will not sell. Those who want it will be forced into ETF claims, paper contracts, and synthetic exposure. Digital silver is abundant. Real silver is disappearing. Look at the parallels. In 1933, gold was seized to save a collapsing financial system. In 1971, gold convertibility ended to prevent global redemption. In 1980, silver rules were changed to prevent physical dominance. In 2023 and 2024, silver bans are indirect, delivered through liquidity rules, sales restrictions, and vault allocation limits. The pattern is identical. When physical metal threatens paper money, access is limited, not by headlines, but by structure. Consider this. Silver mines cannot expand with price. They expand with discovery, which takes decades. Meanwhile, solar companies, military procurement, battery manufacturers, telecom infrastructure, they only care about supply, not price. They will buy at $50, $100, $500 because civilization cannot operate without conductivity. This is what the mainstream refuses to see. Silver isn't rising because investors want profit. Silver is rising because the world is electrifying at a speed that devours metal faster than geology can provide it. When investment and industry collide, scarcity takes new shape. It becomes permanent, systemic, not speculative. Now, as the window narrows, you must understand the final shift. Ownership will divide into two categories: holders of physical metal and holders of claims. One group will have weight, texture, purity, and delivery. The other will have an IOU. The same pattern unfolded in every crisis across every empire. Rome debased coins. Britain clipped silver. America removed metal from money. Every time, the masses trusted the promise and a few trusted the metal. Here are the three takeaways you're not meant to forget. First, silver is no longer a commodity. It is becoming a controlled asset, not through legal bans, but through channel restriction. Second, scarcity is no longer driven by speculation. It is driven by necessity, technology, warfare, electrification, medicine, needs that cannot be substituted. Third, the $100 line is not an endpoint. It is the moment access flips. After that, you don't chase price. You chase availability. So here is the warning. The window does not close when the news announces it. It closes in silence through policy desks, clearinghouses, and allocation contracts. By the time the public wakes up, the vaults will not be empty. They will be allocated elsewhere, beyond retail reach. If you understand patterns, history, and monetary logic, you know exactly what happens next. And if you don't, this is your chance to understand before price becomes irrelevant next to scarcity. If you value your future, your savings, your autonomy, don't just watch the price. Watch who can still buy, who can still take delivery, and who is suddenly redirected to digital silver instead of metal. If you found this breakdown essential, subscribe and like the video. More people need to understand what comes next before the window shuts completely.